Hi, good evening. You guys ready for the meeting? Okay, welcome to West Covina City Council meeting. Today is February 18th, and right now 7 o'clock, and meeting started right now. And tonight, invocation will be led by Pastor Gillian Lott from West Covina Hill Seventh-day Adventist Church, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilman Casiano. All rise, please.
Let's pray. Lord, thank you for this opportunity to gather as a community. Please be present in our community, both tonight and always. Lord, I pray that tonight's presentations will be delightful. I pray that the decisions will be wise, and that you will have a guiding hand of wisdom in each person here's life. Thank you so much for how you have blessed us in the past. In Jesus' name, amen.
Have a seat, please. Assistant City Manager, roll call, please.
Councilman Castellanos.
Here.
Councilman Johnson.
Here.
Councilmember Shoemaker. Here. Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Viado. Present. Mayor Wu.
Here.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have 3 items tonight. Solano v. City of West Covina, on a vote of 5-0, council directed staff to pay plaintiff $75,999.99. Plaintiff agreed to dismiss the complaint. Branconnier v. City of West Covina, on a vote of 5-0, council directed staff to pay plaintiff $82,877.50, and plaintiff agreed to dismiss the complaint. And the third item, Saldana v. the City of West Covina, on a vote of 5-0, council directed staff to pay plaintiff $77,502.50, and plaintiff agreed to dismiss the complaint. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney. Now we're going to move on to presentation. We have 2 presentations tonight. We have a younger audience tonight. Okay. No wonder I can even hear myself. But welcome to City Council. One day you grow up, please serve your community. And one day, I don't know, each one of you, maybe one will be the mayor. You say, no, I don't want to do that job too much. Okay, people are screaming at you all the time. So anyway, I'd like to recognize 2019 West Covina Youth Pony Baseball West Zone World Series. Okay, Shortland Ford Red Team Championship. Okay, we have our, the president, I think Kelly Madoff, is she here? Would you please come up? Okay, and then we have our coach, and Self Spinazzo. Would you please come up? Okay, and we have our League of Secretary, Jennifer Gutierrez. Want to come up? No? You okay? It's okay, come on. Let's have a picture. Hey, if I can stand here, you can stand better than me, okay? Look at it, you're prettier than me, okay? So anyway, welcome and congratulations for the championship, okay? And are you going to be a professional in the future? Yes or no? I think so, yes. But graduate from high school first, okay? So anyway, let me see. So maybe who want to say it, some few words? Who want to do first? Maybe Sal, you want to say something?
All right. On behalf of West Covina Pony Baseball, I'd like to thank them for the opportunity that was given to be able to take these kids and do something miraculously with them at such a young age, 3- and 4-year-olds. So, when they say you can't, these kids are sponges. They're so ready to learn stuff. And to have the opportunity to take them and represent the city of West Covina and bring home the medal and our World Series rings was a tremendous attribute to the kids. So the parents, my coaches, my team moms, my assistants, I want to thank you guys. And to West Covina President, Callie, we brought it home, girl. We brought it home.
West Covina number 1.
Well, you know that I'm very proud of all of you. You are our future. You're the young ones, and you represented us very well, and we're very happy that we have you still here, and now they're playing in Shetland. Most of you are in Shetland now, right? And they're going to bring home another one, right? So I want to thank you, Sal, and coaches. I appreciate you very much. And why don't you guys all come up here? Yeah, let's introduce them.
I'd like to, my coach, Josh Wiseman, my other coach, Ray Parra, and my coach, Brian Rice right there, our team mom, Audrey, and our assistants, Brianna and Mrs. Rice, Tanya. Thank you guys so much for everything. And our players standing up first, Mr. Sergio. Sergio, come on up. And Mr. Francisco, come on up. We got...
Hold on. We have a certificate for you guys.
Awesome. Awesome.
See, city spent money for you guys.
Yes, awesome.
You gotta pay more taxes now. So we can afford it. Okay, so maybe you want to help out? Yes.
Okay, all right. I'm sorry, well, go ahead and sit down. Yes, okay. Okay, thank you. Okay.
Okay, this one for Self, our manager.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, my coach right here, Mr. Brian Rice. Thank you, sir. Thank you, coach. Okay, our next coach, Mr. Josh Weissman. Our next coach, Mr. Ray Parra. Okay, and our team mom, Audrey.
Team mom.
Come on up, team mom. Thank you, team mom. A lot of stuff. Thank you. Thank you, team mom. Love you, babe. Love you, babe.
I love you too. My wife will upset.
All right, our first player, Mr. Joe Aragon.
Joe.
Championship game, Joe went 2 for 3 with 3 RBIs. Joe, stay right here, bro. All right. And our 2019 home run hitter champion, Mr. Mason Ariano. All right. And our silent but deadly one, Mr. Noah Sedano. He's quiet with a big smile. There you go, Mel. Good job. All right. Always having a smile on his face, Mr. Aaron Diosdados. Here you go, Mr. Aaron. All right, and the one who would have to go home and take it off for the coach and the team, Aiden Espinosa. Coach would get on him. There you go, son. This player was a big asset to the team. He is not here. We like to call him Action Jackson Garcia.
Jackson Garcia.
Okay. This one right here, running around the bases with the big smile right here, Mr. Sergio Hermosolio. There he is. We call this one right here Benny the Jet, our home run hitter, Mr. Andrew Hernandez. Here you go, Benny. True. All right. And this kid right here, I got to say, just to let you know, we did beat Walnut for the championship, so we got bragging rights. And this guy, way to end it on a grand slam, Mr. Francisco Herrera. There you go, Mil. All right, and this young man right here, smallest on the team, but the biggest power right there. Give it up to Adrian Parra. There he is. His kid's got a punch. He's got a punch. All right. And the youngest one on our team, parents, this is our youngest one, and he was hanging out there. I'd like to give it up to Mr. Matthew Quinones. He was the only 3-year-old playing with 4-year-olds. 3 years old, 3 years old. He's 4 now, but yeah. Home run pit right there. Yes. I got to get him. All right. And the most important position right here, our first baseman, Mr. Blake Rice. Come on up, Blake. Here you go, Mil. There he is. That's him. His dad. There you go, Mil. Good job. All right, this kid right here played pitcher, was all over the field. Great job, Sebastian Vasquez. Seabass. There you go, Mil. All right, and this one he likes to be called JT, Justin Turner. Give it up to Gavin Weissman. There you go, bud. Yeah. Yeah. All right. And our last player, he wasn't able to be with us this evening, but Mr. Tiger Cerna, our catcher. All right. On behalf of West Covina Pony, we'd like to thank the City Council for acknowledging us today. Thank you very much, and we hope to see you guys next year with another one. Ms. Callie, if we could have all the players come up, please.
Thank you.
very
Good
much.
job. Good job. Appreciate
Thank you.
it.
I appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Mayor. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
your time.
Okay.
I
No
appreciate it.
problem.
Thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you,
Appreciate it. You know, you guys can go home. Yes. Okay, I know you have a curfew. You know you have to go home. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Have a good night. Drive safely. Okay, next year, number 1 again. Okay. See, I don't know. My job is so tough. I have to kneel down, up and down, 30 times. I'm like, go so there. Exactly. Yeah, and I love it. The kid. Okay. Have a good night. I know. Thank you so much for coming. Okay. Pony number 1. Okay. Big Warner, big Covina, big all the city. Okay. Thank you so much for coming again. Appreciate it. Congratulations. Okay. Now we're going to the next presentation. If I can find my script. Okay. Okay. Kelly, would you please come up? Okay, this is something very important for our Faith Church. Okay, for last Thanksgiving, and Faith Church collect, okay, and distribute almost 960 turkey, okay, boxes, okay, and to our residents, 960. So we want to thank him. We want to thank Faith Church, Kaylee Dupay, for your administration to really give out all those needed person to have this wonderful Thanksgiving, because you guys let the family that they have that event, and very, very important for family get together, because that's the love from your church to give to our resident, especially for a lot of needed person. So you want to say something?
I do. First off, I have some of my leaders that were here. You guys come on up here. Let me introduce these folks. And yeah, it is a blessing to serve and as a Faith Church, and to just make a difference and help people in our community. So every year at Thanksgiving time, we put out the word and we collect boxes of groceries and then turkeys and hams, and we give them to our school districts so that they can distribute them to families in need. So we give them primarily to West Covina, but to also different other cities in the area as well. So I'm going to introduce some of these leaders. This is Joe Figueroa, Israel Morales, and Yvette Valdivia. And where did Ava go? Ava's over there. Ava helped out as well. Come on up here, Ava. She was part of our team this year. Anyways, I want you to say thanks to these folks. The thing about this Thanksgiving outreach, too, that is, I think, so amazing is that the community has really gotten behind this. And I want to give special recognition as well to the police department. The fire department donates to this. The business community got behind it as well. And then, of course, the families at Faith Church that really stepped up and provided all of the things so that we could give all of these Thanksgiving boxes out. So all told, if you figure out that each box feeds maybe 8 to 10 people, we fed close to 10,000 people last Thanksgiving, and we're really pleased with how the Lord blessed the efforts. I want to say a special thanks to Councilman Johnson. He came out the last couple of years to help us out on that Wednesday night as we collect everything. And once again, thank you, City Council, for your support. Thank you to the City of West Covina, Mayor Wu. And on behalf of Pastor Dan and Lindsay Reeve, our lead pastors, we just want to say that Faith Church is here in the community to give and to make a difference and to help, and we're glad that we have the opportunity to do that. So thank you very, very much.
Thank you so much, Pastor Dupay. Eva, say something.
Hello.
Want to say something about all this?
No.
You want to say something?
I just think it's an honor and a blessing for us to be able to just be a part of it all. You know, it's overwhelming with all the turkeys and all that, but it is truly a blessing.
We should actually be, Pastor Kelly already thanked everybody, the police department and the fire department. They're key. I actually come over here and pick up the boxes, And we should be thanking you guys, but thank you for the acknowledgement. We really appreciate that.
You know, it's not easy to feed 10,000 people, and I went to Faith Church numerous times, and you have a broad audience and followers, and it's a magnificent church. It's something very important to our city, and especially for you guys doing all this charity work for a needed person to have help, have hope. I think it's so important, and I want to represent the city, the 120,000 population, and the 5 city council member. Here I have a recognition of a resolution, recognition for your church, for your outstanding achievement to help our communities. Thank you so much. Okay. And I'm guarantee we are going to order the frame for you. Okay, so why not due to the budget issue? So we kind of. Right. But I will try to get a budget to put a frame for you. Okay,
right.
but okay,
well,
thank you. Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, now move on oral communication. Okay, and if you want to address to council, please fill out the yellow slip, okay, and provide to our assistant city clerk. If you want to, okay, have our city clerk to, okay, read for you, please fill out the orange one. And how many speakers we have tonight? 4, 5, okay, good. So anyway, okay, first one, please.
Sherry Burlon, followed by Barbara Sepulveda Valdez.
Say good evening, City Council members. When I spoke at the February 3rd meeting, I stated that Glendora Avenue had been named in 1932. I was wrong. Thanks to Reed R-E-E-D Maxim, who is challenging me on Facebook to do research, I looked into further, and Barbara's history, West Covina history book, dated it back prior to World War I. That's between 1914 and 1918. So it was named prior to 1914. One of the Maxim family members challenged me again to look further into our booklets. Well, then I went into the Milestone of West Covina, and there that I had found this, and I gave copies to you. You all have a plot map, the Baldwin plot map. The Baldwin plot map is dated 1905, a planned community. West Covina was originated by E.J. Baldwin's 4th Division, which is part of the Rancho La Puente, shown here with the exact plot, dated 1905. It was laid out, and he named the streets Irwindale, later Orange, Sunset, California, Glendora, Service, Merced, and Francisquito. The original plots were 164 plots, 600 feet, about 8 1/4 acres. Baldwin sold those for $175 an acre. So it has been named 115 years ago. I would like, for many reasons, the street to named, and it was named 18 years prior to the incorporation of West Covina. After talking to Glenn Kennedy last night, he thinks it goes back even further to 1890 because of the stagecoach line that went through the city of West Covina. Mayor Wu, you stated currently that the old town should be changed, it should be rebranding. I'm not speaking for the McIntyre family, but you stated that the Country Club Center was run down a location and it needed to be revitalized and it was renamed. Well, I think the McIntyre family would think would like to have just renamed the center, McIntyre, from the Country Club Square and save the $5 million that they put into the rebuilding of it. The Old Town Center could be revitalized, but it's going to take money, not with the name. There are 87 businesses going down Glendora, approximately 26 owners. This is going to affect all the businesses, all of their material, and 450 residents at the colony to redo all of the contracts, rents. And at the colony alone, there's up to 800 residences that's going to have to change their driver's licenses. As for the freeway, the signage, it could take up to 2 years for the mapping where the police and fire would not be able to find it. There is going to be a substantial cost to all of the patrons all the way down Glendora Avenue. This is part of our history, and the citizens do not want this change. We all remember when the Olympic torch ran down Glendora Avenue and was carried by some of our residences. You cannot take this away from us. There are many people living here that were not even here when the torch ran down Glendora. How many of you were here at that time? This is causing the Maxim family a lot of undue stress. They have not requested this change, and they feel right now that this is tarnishing their names. I have circulated petitions from residents, and right now I have 132 signatures to turn over to the city clerk denying this. Time hold. Okay. The Historical Society is against this change, and even the Maxim family. Please go on to our Historical Society website and look at Maxim Reed and Rayon Reed. They obviously could not be here. They live way far up north. They are opposed to this name change. Rayanne said that was part of her growing up, and she doesn't want it changed, and she's a Maxim member. The Maxim said, the one Reed, he's way up north, he said something about changing a park. But I agree with Jessica on that. That can open a Pandora's box. We can't be naming parks after our policemen, our military, city council members. That's too much. There's too many others. I think the best recommendation was not mine. Mine was to change the lakes going through Glendora Avenue into the Maxim. Someone else came up with the name of changing this city council into the Maxim, which is going to affect no one. It won't cost anyone anything, maybe but a sign, and it won't disrupt the entire city.
Great, thank you, Sherry. Next, please.
Barbara Sepulveda Valdez.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is Barbara Sepulveda Valadez, and I am a homeowner who resides in the Canyon Crest Villas complex. We are a 214-unit complex, which encompasses a 4-block radius: Francesca Drive, Woodgate Drive, Amar Road, and Nogales Street. Our northeast entrance is Paseo Merida. There is a shopping center adjacent to our complex, which encompasses Amar and Nogales. The customers who are patronizing this various businesses utilizing private property, which is the entrance off of Amar Road, driving east on Paseo Merida to enter and exit the shopping center. This is creating a huge problem because they are not adhering to the right-of-way. I personally have almost collided with a vehicle entering, and when they stopped and hollered at me, I said, "You must yield the right-of-way." This means absolutely nothing to these patrons. In addition, the patrons are now using Paseo Merida's entrance as an exit, and vice versa. They are also in such a hurry that they are creating their own 2-lane exit off of Paseo Merida, which is totally unacceptable. In other words, if a resident of Canyon Crest Villas is exiting Paseo Merida going northbound onto Amar, the patrons actingly make a second lane to also go northbound onto Amar. This shopping center has its own entrance/exit. One of them is located on Amar Road, driving east, and the other on Nogales Street, driving south. These problems and concerns have become much worse over the years, and as homeowners of Canyon Crest Villas, our safety and welfare of our senior community should be addressed with a resolution. The entitlement of shopping center patrons utilizing our only entrance on Amar Road must be focused on. Yesterday, I came to a meeting approximately a few years ago and was given a business card for someone who I don't recall who the person was. Basically said that he was going to look into this. I never received a call, nor was there any further recommendations, actions, or resolution taken on this matter. At that time, I provided a map and exact pictures of the shopping center. Today, I was not able to locate it on Google, oddly enough, but is the only shopping center there at this specific location. The shopping center should not be confused with the 24-hour fitness shop location. The shopping center should not be confused, which that one is Walnut, California, which is across the street. I implore City Council to help us. I am unwavering in my endeavors to make our community safe again.
Ma'am, thank you so much. Okay, hold on. The city manager, would you make a note so maybe you can, and can you have your contact information to our city manager so we can look into it?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much.
George Ogden.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. I'm up here talking about the Mother May I that Tony Wu recommended for the city to look at. And I have to tell you, that really lit up the Internet Society out there. And I'd like to at least thank you for that consideration that you're trying to do for the family and actually for the city. But I'm not all for the location. It's all about location, right? Did you pass that information on, ma'am? Yes, okay, thank you. Okay. Some of the issues that we have with renaming Glendora is, first off, we have a mutual aid agreement connecting emergency responses and aids and to all the connecting cities to within the city of West Covina and surrounding areas. We also have ambulance services from outside the city that also come in. And renaming the street could most likely compromise these services, whereas these services depend on electronic navigation. That's the way things are working. An example I'll give you is Google Earth. Okay, if a new address is input into the navigation system, for example, 336 South Maxon, which was 336 South Glendora, which is a historical site, they would not show up on their equipment that they have in their emergency response systems. Our city would have it, most likely. Okay, you would have to put in the old address, but they're not going to know this. So if somebody calls in, they're going to say, hey, I'm on Maxon. This would compromise, in my opinion, and probably many others, that our emergency systems for responding to probably either save lives, put out fires, or whatever it might be. All right? For the internet families, it would probably take about 2 years or more to get that all implemented into their systems to be able to find that when you do your navigation system. The impact on the property owners, I know you've heard it all already, but the business owners, the customers, the various services would be impacted. Property deeds would have to be changed. Insurance contracts, billing, deliveries, utilities, and much more to have these addresses changed and incorporated into their systems and their accounts. Any nonprofit organization along that corridor, they would probably have to resubmit. Okay? And I think we may have one. The Historical Society? No. Okay. The Los Angeles County Assessor's Office, okay, would have to change all the property deeds and everything like that would be affected. You kind of wonder who's going to be paying for that, right? Those that live along the corridor would also have to change, and I'm being redundant here, their driver's license, billing information, insurance, and all that. We have that. And what would it cost us to contact the County of Los Angeles and to see in regards to the remapping that they would need to do and to relabel things of all of their records, and would the county even approve this? Okay, I don't want to be spinning our wheels or our money or whatever. However, like I said earlier, I like what you're doing. Okay, the idea of renaming the street after a founder and a mayor is great. Okay, but still, it's all about location. I've got that written down here. Liking the idea, noting the side street of Lakes, which you can see there, where two streets come together named the Lakes. There's a little strip right in there. It won't affect anybody if we rename that street Maxon. And then you could have a tagline underneath it, founder, mayor. Nobody's affected. I don't even think we even need to tell the County of Los Angeles we did this. But we have two corridors along there that you come down. People that go to the bank, they may never go down Glendora Avenue, but they're going to see that sign and they're going to realize that means something. And those people that are going down Glendora Avenue would see that sign. It'll mean something to them too. But I would like for this Mother May to still come forward, but maybe have this in their consideration in their paperwork as well. I think what you're doing is cool. I like it. That's why I'm here. And if we get on that side street, you got my total support, partner. All right? Thank you for your attention. You too.
We'll come back, George. Happy to see you for a long time. Okay, happy to see you talk to address to council. We'll come back. Thank you for your input. Okay, thank you.
Right, thank you, sir.
Next, please.
Sherry Fisher.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I just have a couple of things, no big deal. First, I want to compliment you guys on the code enforcement. This is the best I've seen in a long time. We've got work to do, but it's good. I request that on street sweeping days, if we can get a no parking sign, I would be excited. If we can get a local post office, so I'm not driving everywhere else to go to the post office. Since I work in the... You did. Since I work in the city now, I don't want to go anywhere else. Along that lines, you guys have done a great job with fast foods. Now let's get some sit-down restaurants here so I don't have to leave to dine. And then my final remark is, if it's not broken, don't fix it. Leave Glendora as it is. Thank you.
Thank you. And next, please.
Ray Edmondson.
Good evening, council, and everybody watching at home. My name is Ray Edmondson, 30-year resident of West Covina. I'm here to talk about a charity fundraiser that's happening this Saturday at my gym, CrossFit Insurgent. Daria Castellanos also goes there Saturday morning, so if you want to come work out with us, Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. So my gym has an after-school program for kids from 3:30 to 4:30, Monday through Thursday. It's for kids aged 12 through 17 that want to get into fitness. They learn how to lift weights and do a bunch of cool exercises. It's really fun. This Saturday, we have a charity workout. It's a really inclusive workout. A lot of the activities are stuff that anybody can do. So any age, any activity level, come in at 9 a.m. to 1208 West Francisquito. It's Francisquito and Sunset behind the Northgate Market over there. Any donation is accepted. No donation is too small. We're also being matched by Modern Woodman. And we're looking to buy more kid-appropriate gym equipment because they kind of use the adult barbells now. And they're watching a 12-year-old try to lift an adult barbell is kind of funny looking. So everybody's invited. Come on down. If you have any questions or interested in having your kids sign up, show up 1208 West Francisquito. Thanks.
Thank you so much. I can see it's always working on you. Okay, 19 pounds, right? Oh, wow. See, it works. It's a working proof. Next, please.
Bill Robinson.
Good evening, Council. On the way into the chambers, I read a banner that says that West Covina is the most business-friendly city in LA County. That's true only if the sales tax measure fails. I believe if the sales tax measure fails, especially the auto dealers, but all of the businesses in West Covina will celebrate. If the tax measure fails, everybody knows that the city is headed towards bankruptcy, and the passage of the measure will probably make bankruptcy more likely, not less likely. We got to realize that we don't have a revenue problem in the city; we have a spending problem. Anyway, I'd like to endorse all the previous comments regarding Glendora Avenue. It seems apparent to a lot of people in West Covina that the 9 bargaining units are really running the city, and they take care of the big issues while the city council occupies themselves with the issues of what's going to be the name of Glendora Avenue. The city of West Covina is probably over 70 years old, and it's always been Glendora Avenue. And there may be 60 or more former mayors of West Covina. So, occupying yourself with the name of Glendora Avenue seems like a non-issue to me. One issue that I've noticed this week is there's a lot of illegally posted signs on the public right-of-way, especially on Azusa Avenue. And I wish the city clerk's office would take a look at the most of the illegally posted signs I see are on the yes on the tax measure signs, and I wish the city clerk's office would clean that up by tomorrow. And political signs are supposed to be posted with the owner's permission on private property. Anyway, the city clerk's office needs to take a look at Azusa Avenue and other places. Perhaps the council could consider a resolution. The tax vote is dividing the city, and they could consider a resolution. You folks could consider a resolution on advising the residents how to vote on the tax measure. Instead of worrying about Glendora Avenue, pass a resolution or consider a resolution advising voters. It's a divisive issue right now, and at least I and many others perhaps want to know what your opinion is on how we should vote on that sales tax measure. And instead of spinning your wheels on Glendora Avenue. So I got a minute left, but I haven't got anything left to say.
Thank you. You are so kind. Okay, next, please.
Bill Elliott.
Walk to the door, I'm first in line. Okay, City Council, my name is Bill Elliott, and when I spoke last week, I think if I said one more dirty, stinking, rotten scoundrel, the mayor was going to come out of his seat. Right. But for the good of the county of Los Angeles, that despicable former sheriff and convicted felon is now in a federal prison where he belongs. Not nearly for long enough. He tried to claim he had Alzheimer's for the last 3 years, and that's why he shouldn't have to go to prison. Well, a lot of people are sick in prison, and they die every year in state prison and federal prison. They don't get released just because they're sick. And Liebach is not even sick. He's a liar. So I was really happy to see him go to prison. Not enough corrupt government officials go to prison. I can think of several off the top of my head in this state that belong in prison and on the national front. But that being what it is, I'll leave it at that. I really want to talk tonight about the tax, this overwhelming cloud that's hanging over everybody. Like the race baiters that are trying to destroy this country, I really feel like this what do you call it? When it's on the ballot, what's the word I'm looking for? Right. I feel like it's tearing the city apart. I really do. I have friends and enemies on both sides of this equation, and I respect the opinions of a lot of people that are much more informed than I am on the subject, but when they start explaining it to me, my eyes glass over. It's hard to understand all the ins and outs of it, but the thing that troubles me is, first of all, I've never, ever supported a tax increase in my life. This city has had $75 million surplus, and I won't use the word I'm thinking of, but it was just fluttered away by And I know this city council didn't do it, and that's the crazy thing about our government, because nobody's responsible. And the people that are responsible can't be held accountable. So, it's really troubling that we've come from such a high plateau to such a low place in the city. And I'm afraid what's going to happen if we pass this tax increase, because we all know what's going to happen. There's more taxes coming. And I'm also afraid what's going to happen if it doesn't pass. The city council, in all your wisdom, decided to give the public safety people a raise that, they arguably deserve. I know we were hemorrhaging a lot of cops to other agencies. I was in Santa Ana talking to some police officers yesterday, and they told me the same thing. They said, we got a raise, and we had all kinds of laterals moving to the department. But, gone are the days when cops made $30,000 a year. That's over. Now they make significantly more than the average person in our city. And that's kind of a little backwards, I think. I don't want to pound on the police. I admire them a lot. I respect them a lot. They have a tough job. And I just hope whatever happens with this tax increase on the ballot, this ballot initiative, is going to be what's best for the city. But I'm just afraid of everything else that's coming. On one hand, I really like the fact that if we're going to have a tax forced down our throats, it's a sales tax where everybody has to share the burden. People that come into our city, shop at our malls, make purchases, eat dinner, rather than burdening homeowners yet again with another tax. Tax. They're trying to turn around Prop 13, and those filthy lying Democrats are trying to pretend it's something else. It's a fraud that they're perpetrating on the citizens of this state, the taxpayers of this state, and they should be run out of town, but I think it's probably too late for California. We are suffering on a level that is epic, and I don't know if we're ever going to be able to turn this around. I hope West Covina has great days ahead of us. I love this city, but I have doubts about that too. I hope it's for the better.
Thank you, Bill. Be confident. Okay, I think the city will be excellent. Okay, next. That's it. Any person want to address to council? Oh, go ahead. Come. Would you please have a yellow slip? Could you fill it up after you're done? It's okay. It's okay. Come. Yes, come to talk.
My name is Ed Salee. My wife and I own a small piece of property on Glendora Avenue, probably one of the smallest that's there. I've been in business in West Covina since 1962, and I've been at about 3 or 4 locations. One of the ones I was at that you probably noticed, for 20 years I owned the Greyhound bus depot here. And the thing that concerns me about the changing of the name is probably $5,000 or $6,000 that it's going to cost me to change paperwork. And that doesn't seem quite fair maybe I don't come to your meetings, obviously. I didn't even know how to get up here. Anyway, so it's just a matter of trying to make sure we all know what's going on. I found out about 3 days ago that this was going to be there on the agenda tonight. I'm not against improvement. I just don't know that changing the name of Glendora Avenue is an improvement. I've had a business on there since 1962 in 4 locations, ending up where we are now. So I'm just one of the few. Now, I happen to be one that owns a piece of property and has a business there. Most of them have just the business there. And I have noticed over the years when I have dropped by the council, and they've invited landowners on Glendora Avenue, 26 of us in a row, and nobody shows up. There were 3 of us. And I don't know whether it's because they don't know. It may be because they don't care. It's not going to affect the landowner like it's going to affect the businessman. So anyway, I just wanted to register my complaint or whatever it is.
But thank you so much. Your name, please?
Ed Salee.
So Liz, do you have
last name is Sallee.
Thank you, Ed. Appreciate. Any other speaker want to address to council? No? Okay, I'm going to close the oral communication. And the city manager, do you have anything you want to address?
Thank you, Mayor. We were taking careful notes. I will follow up with the traffic engineer regarding Ms. Sepulveda Valadez's concerns about the entrance and exiting on Canyon Crest Villas. I know there's been an initial conversation with our traffic engineering staff, but we'll follow up and see if we might be able to assist them with some solutions. I'd like to thank Ms. Fisher for the kudos for our code enforcement staff. I'll pass that along. And I know they're working very hard, and we'll see what we can do about getting some tickets for people that deserve them on the parking violations. And then finally, regarding a couple speakers spoke about the renaming, the rebranding, the revitalization of Glendora. That's not on the agenda tonight, and it will return at the council's direction. But I do believe there will be a number of aspects to that beyond simply renaming the street. I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done there, and we'll have to do it in concert with the businesses and the owners there. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manager. Okay, I want to address quickly. I started this Mother May I. Okay, it's not we always decide to add. Don't worry. Okay, nobody changed the name. Okay, it's just a topic. Let's talk about. Is that possible? If the resident or the property owner over there, we feel don't want to do it, we don't do it, okay? Because you guys have to make a decision about over there. You guys have an investment, you guys have your business. But the reason I'm throwing this out is not just try to honor the first founding father of our first mayor, okay, Benjamin Maxson. Okay, more and less is how we revitalize this area, because I think all the surrounding neighborhood, including West Covina Plaza, including the Chick-fil-A, everything kind of improvement. How can we revitalize, revise, approve downtown plan? Now, hopefully, all this can help out with all these residents. And Sherry, thank you so much for people united together. I think let's have a dialogue. We work together how we improve the street, how we improve the curb, how we improve the facade, how we help add to have more business. Okay, and that is going to make this street beautiful. Renaming the street of name is not really the agenda. We want to see how can we help and put the focus in this area. Like Joe talking about a less small street doesn't have anybody. Okay, we can put it. It's welcome. We are welcome to discussion. It's not me or council to decide. It's the resident, especially the business owner and the resident over there, to make a decision together. Together, let's try to clean up the street, try to make sure the street is pretty. Let's try to make the business, add business over there, vibrant, and we have a lot of traffic to visit our museum. I think this is what, original purpose. That's why we want to see. And then we told the city, manager, don't spend any money regarding talking to, it's more and less to talk to the resident over there and business over there first. Okay, let's have a dialogue. Let's have a communication. Let's have a meeting, town hall meeting on that street. Let's help out. Let's improve that street. That's our history. I think that street really deserve some kind of attention from our residents, from our city council. So anyway, this is about it. Don't get too rowdy about we already changing the street. Nobody changing the street. Nobody going to cost you any money. Please, don't worry about that. It's your decision, okay? Okay, thank you. And we move into manager report. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Just a couple of brief items tonight. Previously mentioned, we've looked at facility maintenance as a facet or aspect of asset management, and we've been paying a lot of attention to patching roofs. We've got 20 buildings with 19 leaking roofs, but we're making good gain against that, and we found a contractor that's continuing to do some good work. So this is a picture of Fire Station 5 with its tiles all unbroken. Coming up, I wanted to highlight for the council and public, probably one of the biggest pieces of the coming budget season will be the city's capital improvements program. We're going to ask the council and the public to take a look at this and all of the capital needs of the city in the context of all the others and the funding sources. It's a complicated program, but it's scheduled for the evening of April the 7th. So if you're interested in getting your street paved or a new traffic signal or a sidewalk repaired or any of the above and all of the above, I think you'll find that conversation to be pretty interesting on April the 7th. I wanted to make mention of a neighborhood meeting that we've scheduled at council's direction. We had on the agenda several meetings back consideration of putting a traffic signal in at the corner of Citrus and Cameron. And the immediate neighbors had some concerns that we wanted to be in direct communication with them about. Will the curb in front of my house be red curbed? Are there alternatives to the traffic signal? Could we look at different lane configurations, et cetera? So that neighborhood meeting is scheduled for March the 16th at 6:30 p.m. at the Senior Center at Cortez Park. Here's another one. We're working in partnership with our neighbor, Baldwin Park, who's doing a repaving project, bike lane project, lane configuration project on Pacific Avenue. Typically, when we're working with an adjacent jurisdiction and it's only paint, we try and cooperate with them. In this case, I think there'll be some stark contrast between the improvements that Baldwin Park has got now grant funded and ready to go out to bid with, and how that will affect West Covina residents and traffic when their project ends and our city borders start. We've tried to keep the council member from this district informed, but we're going to have a meeting about it on Monday, February the 24th at City Hall in the community room for anybody in that neighborhood that might be interested. Wanted to make mention of the fact that we have a new owner of the Eastland Center, which was purchased at a price of some $185.7 million from the Blackstone Group. We've been in communication with them about some repositioning of tenants within the center, property maintenance, et cetera, and I think we have a new owner that's quite willing to work with the city to make that center continue to sparkle. And that's all I have this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, City Managers. Okay, now moving on to consent calendars. Okay, Council, do you any? Yes. Okay, which one?
Number 8, please.
Number 8. Okay, and
Number 10.
number 10. Any other? Any? Okay. Do I have a motion to move number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 11, 12, 13 to approve?
Make a motion to approve the rest.
I'll second.
So I have Councilman Johnson move the motion. I have Councilman Casiano second. Roll call, please.
Councilman Castellanos?
Aye.
Councilman Johnson?
Aye.
Councilmember Shoemaker? Aye. Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Viado?
Aye.
Mayor Wu?
I approve 5-0. Now we're moving on to agenda number 8. That will be Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You know, I would like to see if we can have our finance director come down and give a report on this. Now, this is something we've talked about before, but I think the residents should be able to understand why we talked about it so they can understand why it's needed.
Through the chair, if I may. Agenda item 8 tonight concerns a budget amendment to increase appropriations for professional contract services for our building and safety, public works plan check, and inspection services. I've asked the assistant city manager to be prepared with a very brief staff report. I know our director and in-house CPA is available to back him up. If we could give that report, then staff will be available for any other questions you might have.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. As the city manager has said, this is a request for a budget increase. This is a follow-on item from actions the City Council took on February 4th. There was a contract amendment for two recently contracted out services, both for building plan check and for engineering inspection. I think it's helpful to go back and talk about a little bit of history. When the City Council adopted the current year budget, which was adopted in June of 2019, the city had in-house building inspectors as well as public works inspectors. Subsequent to that, the City Council decided to contract both of those services out. So we staff issued an RFP, and contracts were awarded to the two firms, again, Willdan and Transtech. Also, since the budget was adopted, the city looked at its overall fees for services and realized that our fees for services were actually not covering the full cost of services. So the City Council did increase the cost of permits. Those resolutions were adopted and those fees have gone into effect. Long story short, there's been a number of changes that have occurred since the council adopted the budget, and I think what happened was really a sequencing issue, that when the when the budget was approved, we had in-house services. We have come to realize that it is more cost effective and it provides better customer service to have contract services. So as a result, we have come back with a budget increase for both, again, contractors, Willdan, and for Transtech. The fees do cover all of the cost of those services. So while it is an increase to the contract, to the amount the individual firms are receiving, the impact to the general fund is actually zero, because these are all what are called fees for services. I hope that answers the council's questions, and I'm happy to elaborate further if needed.
Any question?
No, that answered my question. I just want the residents to understand why it was done.
Council Ebony, okay, go ahead.
I don't know if I'm misreading this budget amendment, but I see 940,000, 81,000, 505,000, 58,000, 336,000 as expenditures. Yet, I think I understood that you said it's cost neutral, but our revenues are 1.29 million. So, how does that make us cost neutral? Where does the rest of the money come from?
The rest of the money actually comes out of capital improvement projects. So the line items that you are reading, the first line item, and I won't go through all of the account numbers because it's a long string of numbers that's meaningless to most people. That is the actual Willdan contract, the $940,000. So that $940,000 is what's being paid out of the revenues of $1.29 million. The other line items are for Transtech services, and those are paid out of a variety of sources. Many of those are public works. Well, they're all public works projects, so many of those come out of dedicated funding sources such as gas tax, Measure R, Measure M monies. So I think the two line items to look at is the top line, the budget of $940,000, and then the revenue of $1.2 million.
But we also, and correct me if I'm wrong, are increasing Transtech's budgeted amounts. So are these expenditures, under proposed amendments, additional monies coming out of accounts, and where are we covering that besides taking more out of dedicated accounts? Which, when we did the budget, we balanced to the cent. So I would have expected to see increased revenue on Transtech's side also to cover the additional cost.
There is some revenue increases because the public works permits went up. The cost of those permits went up, but the majority of the work which TransTech is engaged in is really capital improvement projects, and those are all dedicated funding sources. So you are correct. The council did balance the budget when it was adopted in June. It is still a balanced budget today. It's just the instead of the city staff costs which were allocated to capital projects, now TransTech employee costs are dedicated to capital improvement projects.
So why under revenues where it says permit fees, does that 1.2 now include permit fees for TransTech? Or why isn't there another line item to show that there's an increased amount of revenues for public works permits?
It probably should have shown that. I do believe, and now it's probably a question that I might need to defer to the finance director, but I believe that all of these fees are actually willed in, but I don't know that, again, because I don't know all of these account numbers.
Yeah, because my concern is with CIP, obviously we can pay for the contractors through CIP, but every additional cent we pay a contractor is one less cent that we have to actually put into the projects. And so that's why I was curious as to how we're covering this. So while I'm happy to hear it's cost neutral, it's not cost neutral to our CIP budget, because if we're paying them more, it's coming out of the pocket of providing services and providing improvements to our community. So I guess those are my only questions. I voted no on these budget contract amendments, and I guess for the second opportunity to ask the questions.
Okay, any other question? Do I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
I'll second. Okay, so we have a motion moved by Councilman Johnson and second by Councilman Casiano, and roll call, please.
Councilman Castellanos?
Aye.
Councilman Johnson?
Aye.
Councilmember Shoemaker?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Viado?
Aye.
Mayor Tony Wu?
Aye. Okay, motion approved 4-1. Thank you. Now move on to agenda number 10. And Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Viado.
This one I had a variety of questions. I know I asked previously you were going to go ahead and do a little presentation, and I'll ask further questions if they're not answered. Thank you.
Thank you. Through the chair, agenda item 10 tonight's agenda concerns a contract for transit services. Through this contract, the city vendor, MV Transportation, who is a very good vendor for us, provides both fixed route and demand response, which is dial-a-ride services. The program is administered by the City Public Services Department and funded using restricted funds, both Prop C and Measure R. I've asked the Public Services Supervisor to give a brief staff report. He's got a PowerPoint ready to tee up, and then staff will be available for questions after that. Thank you.
Evening, Mayor and Council members. So item number 10, consideration of Third Amendment to MV Transportation Agreement for Transit Services. The original agreement was approved on December 17, 2013. It's a 5-year agreement with provisions for 2 one-year extensions with MV. They provide fixed route and dial-a-ride transit services that began on March 3rd, 2014. The total cost of the agreement was $4,953,125. The contract is approximately $1 million a year. Shuttle services consist of 3 alignments, red, blue, and green. They operate Monday through Friday, 6:30 a.m. to 7 p.m. The estimated annual hours of operation for the shuttle service are 11,650 hours. The cost is $1 per ride, or $1 boarding fee, and then 50 cents for seniors. This is a breakdown of the hours and the miles that the actual routes take. So the red line, which is actually clockwise throughout the city, goes on the outskirts of the city, and we'll go more into the lines as we go through. 2,831 hours and approximately 34,000 miles. And then the blue line, which goes counterclockwise through the outside of the city, it's 3,100 hours, 3,900, or 40,000 miles basically. The green line runs concurrently north and south, so the buses go in opposite directions of each other. So it's one line, but there's two buses taking that line. So for the northbound, there's approximately 2,614 hours and 42,000 miles. And then the southbound side is approximately 3,000 hours and 49,000 miles. Here you can see the blue line. This route was extended in June 2001, and the reason for that, the route originally ran just to Workman, but because of the senior housing up on Lark Ellen and Badillo, the route was extended to go all the way to top to access that senior housing and give them the transportation they need. This is the red line. The thing that I want to say about this line, the ridership on this line is lower than the other lines, but this is the line that travels through the center of town and hits most major stops in the city. For example, the high school, the mall, DMV, city, the courthouse, city hall. So this is a spot that maybe someone doesn't need every day, but when they need it, they need to get there. The green line was established in June 2001, and this was actually a call for projects grant. So this was extended in 2001, and this extended from the senior center down to Friendship Park, so on the south side of town. This slide shows our total ridership for last fiscal year. As you can see, the blue line is a little lower, but like I stated before, that actually goes through the middle of town and hits the primary spots in the city.
Sorry, can you correct that? Because I think you said the red line hit the spot, and I know the blue line is actually the smallest ridership.
Let's go back. Oh, I'm sorry. I said the wrong thing. I'm sorry. This was Dial-A-Ride ridership. I apologize. That's my mistake. This is for the Dial-A-Ride. So the weekday numbers and then Sundays. So Dial-A-Ride works every day but Saturday. This is trips throughout the city for West Covina residents, for seniors that are West Covina residents, and it will take them up to 3 miles outside the city to a doctor's appointment. And that does it every day but Saturday. So I gave the wrong numbers on that. I apologize.
The annual ridership by month, it does show that the blue line has the least amount of ridership, not the red. Red is in between.
Let me go to the next slide. Oh, I'm sorry. I went forward. I apologize. This is the correct slide, right? This is the ridership slide. The blue line is actually the lowest. Yes, you are correct.
Where does the blue line go?
The blue line goes counterclockwise on the outskirts of the city. And this is the line that was extended to reach the up to Badillo and Workman. It was actually extended in 2001, and it previously stopped at Workman, and now it goes up Lark Ellen all the way to Badillo to the senior housing on that part of town. Any other questions on the ridership there?
I have additional questions after you end your presentation.
Mark, it won't let me back in this. I'm double clicking on the slide. Thank you. Once again, I'm sorry for getting out of order. So we're back to Dial-A-Ride, and this is the total ridership. The reason for the increase on this, the reason for this amendment is Senate Bill SB 3 of 2016, which was the minimum wage increase. That is the reason that we're having to make the amendment to this contract. The first amendment was done in 2017, and then the second one followed in 2019. The City Council has the following options. approve staff's recommendations, approve an extension of the contract with no rate increase, and direct staff to work with MV Transit to reduce its operating hours to stay within status quo. Direct staff to conduct a request for proposals. This is not recommended as the current service is excellent, and it would be expected that rates would be much greater than proposed or increase would be, or it would raise fees if we go out to RFP. That is our assumption. Or you could provide alternate direction. The recommendation, approve the third amendment to the agreement for transit services with MV Transportation, effective March 3rd, 2020 through March 2nd, 2021. Approve the following resolution, a resolution of the City Council of the City of West Covina, California Resolution Number 2020-10, adopt a budget amendment for the fiscal year commencing July 1st, 2019 and ending June 30th, 2020. And I'm here for any questions you may have.
How is the ridership? Has there been increase or decrease within the previous years?
I believe the ridership has stayed pretty close to the same. We've seen some variations, but this has been about average for the last few years.
I see that the last time they looked at it was in 2001. Have they recently looked at the needs of the community with the changes in the city, such as like high density changes, business and development occurring? Have they looked at the logistics to better serve the community, primarily our seniors, our students, and just the routes on that for the shuttles?
We have not. Mayor Pro Tem, we have not, but we are currently working with MV Transit to do that before the next RFP. So all those things you're asking, when this contract ends, the plan is to use the audit that we're with the ridership now and use that for the next RFP to better utilize our funds and make sure that we're hitting all the demographics that you talked about.
When is the next RFP?
It will be due next year. This is the final year of the contract.
Okay, so they would look at all those, the routes and things that could be easier, better served our students. I'd like to make sure that they focus on the students before and after school programs and activities. I looked at, go ahead.
Also, to add on to what the Mayor Pro Tem is saying, in looking at these routes, I appreciate West Covina Unified is pretty well covered, but there's no route to South Hills High and Covina Valley schools. And so that may be an area that needs more attention. It does go down to Nogales, and interestingly enough, which is part of Roland, it's the green line, which shows the most ridership. So that's it. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up. When I'm looking at the annual ridership per month, the green line they go by thousands of ridership, anywhere from 1,000 to almost 3,000. The blue line goes by the hundreds, no more than, it's from 300 to 500. If the green line, the population, they're utilizing it there, and I looked at it's only by 30-minute routes. Can they consider doing it 15-minute routes, or just to look at all that and cater to the highest needs of ridership?
We can look at all options. The only thing that we wanted to point out is the blue line, the one that has the lowest ridership. Those are the places that a lot of people need to get to, just not as often. So I think we can ask the transit company to look at location, adding Covina schools, incorporating the stops on the blue line in the green and red. So all those things can be done, and those are things that we're definitely going to audit and look at.
On Article 5, Statement of Services, number 4, it says, conduct town hall meetings on the agreed schedule at a reasonable frequency to educate the public, particularly senior citizens and dial ride patrons on these services. Has that been occurring at all?
That has not been occurring, but it will occur before the next RFP.
Reason why I ask, because I remember my grandmother, before she passed away, putting her on this dial ride. My aunt, who was a caregiver, had some problems with the dial ride and the frustration for it. So I'd like to make sure that they honor what their contract allows them to do. So that was one. And the same for the Article 5 Statement of Services, number 11, I believe, on advertisement. Oh, advertisement. The city will be exploring the opportunity to advertise city programs and events such as entrepreneur or private ventures that would benefit the city. And should these endeavors result in revenue generation, all such advertisement revenues from advertising vehicles, including electronic print advertising, should belong to the city. Have we been utilizing that as well?
We have utilized it to promote our programs in the past, but we have not done it lately because it is a cost to us. Currently, the buses have the Shop Local program on the side of them, and we've been using it for Shop Local. So as opportunities arise, we definitely explore everything we can do, but the main reason we haven't done it more is because of the cost to us. That's not something that we can use special funds for, and it is a cost to the city to outfit the buses. In the past, we've wrapped them to promote BLD, Big League Dream Sports Complex, and other things like that. So that option is there. We have not done it as much as we like because of the cost, but we definitely can do that. And if revenue did, present itself, we would do what we could to bring that to fruition.
Okay. Well, as long as you're going to look at take all this into consideration before the next RFP, I don't mind moving forward with this. Any other questions?
Okay, Councilman Casiano.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And to add to it, I think raising awareness to take care of this underutilized resource is important. Maybe we could ask Athens to include something in their monthly bill or quarterly to let people know it's here. In addition to that, maybe we could partner with Uber and Lyft to see if there's some method to take advantage of this capacity. And other than that, just any other way we could think of to use it, because it's here and the gas is being burned. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And then I remember. Okay, go ahead.
Thank you for reminding me that. The Lyft program, didn't the city set a contract with the Lyft, and is that part of this?
We have earmarked funds, and we are approved to move forward with the Lyft program, but we've been having difficulty with contacting Lyft and working with them. The other thing that we found is that the fees have continued to rise, so the money that was allocated for it doesn't go as far as originally advertised. So it's something we're still pursuing, something that we've been trying to follow up with, but we've found it very difficult to work with Lyft, and we'll continue to see if we can bring that forward.
Okay, Councilwoman Shoemaker.
In the contract, it says amount of service to be provided, approximately 24,000 trips will be provided over a one-year period. And that is for the dial-a-ride service. At this point, we are about half of that. Yet, this company is coming to us, once again, asking for an increase because the minimum wage increased. The problem I have, and maybe some other council members can jump in, is I believe when we did the one-year extension last year, it was with the understanding that this would carry them through the last 2 years of the contract, and that they would not be coming back to us for an increase because the minimum wage increased when they've known that. And that's why they came for an amendment last year. So I want to know if staff has had any discussion with them about that item and the fact that we are on the last year of the contract. Have we looked at things like it's supposed to be 24,000 trips a year and we're only at 12, so are the buses basically sitting somewhere? 2, what has the city been doing to contact the school districts? Because I know when I was in school, a lot of people used the dial-a-ride because they picked up right at West Covina High School. I don't see routes that are close to Coronado High School. They do go along Sunset for Edgewood High School, but Edgewood, has greatly increased their population as it's become the high school also. I don't see any route next to the Mount Sac Early College Academy. I already mentioned I didn't see a route next to South Hills High School. So maybe this is some of the issue. Is the city responsible for advertising this? Is our contractor responsible? Why isn't our contractor or the city staying on top of the fact that we have really low utilization for something that costs us a lot? Are we having so few dial-a-rides because there's requirements like 7-day advance notice? So you're asking me as a council member to approve something when there's a huge number of questions as to why we don't have the ridership, why we even need an increase for the dollar increase. They want 3.15% for a dollar increase. And so, I personally want them to stay because I do believe staff when they say they provide a good service, but at the same time, I feel like we're kind of being used when questions like why are we at half the ridership for Dial-A-Ride aren't answered. Why do they need to increase when we specifically discussed last year that they would keep their same rate for the next year? Because I remember myself specifically, because it was one of my first council meetings where I flat out said it has been no secret in California that the minimum wage is going up. We've known for years and years, and when they came back in 2017, they would have already known the increases going forward. And so I don't know if you
Mike, could you answer? Can you answer? Okay, Councilwoman Shoemaker's question.
There was a lot of questions there, and I understand the questions. I don't have the answer for the Dial-A-Ride numbers. I will reach out to the provider and get that information and get that back to you in a weekly. MV is willing to educate and do things like go to our senior center and go to places to educate what's available and what can be done. They've already talked to us about that, talked about giving out pamphlets to their riders and promoting stuff on the buses as well. So they are reaching out to us about what they can do to improve ridership. The routes and locations where we're going to stop, those are definitely things we can look into. I believe the routes are set because of cost, staying within the boundaries of what the budget was and what it is. The hourly rate, they didn't actually come back last year. They came back 2 years ago. They came back in 2017. So there was 1 year skip. They did the First Amendment, I believe. I'm sorry, I don't have it in front of me. I'm looking at it here. But they did the First Amendment in 2016, and then the following in 2017, skipped a year, and then came back. I just think costs have gone up more than they thought.
I just want to clarify. The Second Amendment was March 5th, 2019.
Oh. I'm failing today. I apologize. You were correct.
It was an exciting meeting, kind of notable.
It was. I'm sorry. I was thinking 2018. I got mixed up on my years there. So we will. I will provide more information on that and see if there's anything other than the hourly rate. I mean, the explanation to us is the hourly wage, that the costs just continue to increase, and that's what they need to do to keep their drivers compensated correctly.
But again, it goes back to the conversation last year, which was they've known for years that the minimum wage was going to increase, yet they come back every year for an increase and say, oh, we need to increase it because of the minimum wage, instead of building that into their cost or having a year by year. And there was a discussion and an understanding that was supposed to go to them that we would not be at this point again this year with another increase, because they should have been estimating what their costs were going to be. I mean, if you're asking for an increase of 3.5%, I don't think it's unreasonable to know why ridership is down, for them to have taken an active before we get to the point of contract, and to explain why when we increased the fares last year, they're back this year for the same reason, even though they knew that the rates were going to go up.
I understand your point. I can get that information for you, find out from the provider if there's an answer to that, and get back to you in a weekly as well.
Okay, and then my next item, and this may be for the Mr. City Manager. We've now heard that there's an issue with the Lyft contract. Can it come back to the council as to what's going on, why it's going on, and why we were not informed before so we could have taken action? Thank you.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Viado.
Same Article 5 Statement of Services on Dial-A-Ride services. Well, I guess this applies to both. On collection of fares. Total fare amount collected by the contractor shall be deducted from the monthly billing statement to the city. Can you explain that further?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Oh, page 7. Number 5. Letter A, the total fare amount collected by the contractor shall be deducted from the monthly billing statement to the city. Can you explain that further, please?
That is just, they show what the fares are to show the ridership, and then that's deducted, and they provide that to the city monthly. They just deduct it monthly from what is owed. So the payments that we pay.
So we pay a monthly payment, and whatever fees that they collect
is deducted from that, correct.
Well, then I do agree with you in regards to our services. That's why I asked, the first question that I asked was, has there been an increase or decrease? And I'd like to know that as well, because if we are giving them this phrase and we're decreasing ridership and we don't see them promoting this, then I feel like we shouldn't have to do that. Thank you. Go ahead.
Thank you. Okay. I want to add on some of the concern. I think it's this. Okay, mass transportation is very important for our city, especially all this for the people needed, like senior citizens, people have issue with cars, then they need this transportation. Now the problem is, how can we make this ridership higher? I think we've been talking so many times in previous, council meeting, we talk about how about the mapping, how about the route, and how about making it convenient. And I think I talked to a lot of residents, okay, they have a conflict. Some people say pretty good, some people say horrible, some people say they apply, they never get it approved. So how can we, make this transportation become kind of our city's 16, 17 square mile, and their route will be going to needed place, that with a student, with a senior, and then we can have a more ridership. And another thing is like the other city council member talking about, promotion. We know that people need how easy this thing to be used. And we want more people to use. And the thing is tonight, I don't know what decision you want to table it or something. Rather than just decline or approve, because we really need this transportation. I think we need to discuss about, can they give us some of a suggestion about the route? Is that possible? Or they say, no, this is the only route we want to cover?
That is possible. I mean, we have the choice, the council has the choice tonight to not approve the increase, and we can look at the routes to make it fit within the guideline, the parameters of the contract now. That can be done. Obviously, as stated before, the next RFP is going to be huge. We're going to have to do the town hall meetings that are required. We're going to have them audit the ridership and do that, and that's going to be all part of the next RFP. So all that information will come out and then be used for the RFP of how the routes will be designed, and that will all come to council with the contract.
Okay. And this is from the restricted fund, right? This is, all this budget is coming from what? Restricted fund?
Yeah, restricted fund, Prop C and
Prop
Measure
C.
R.
So nothing from our general fund. This is a fund, restricted fund, and so now they increase 3.5% increase, and your suggestion we approve, but you can still work with them to get the new route. And that's why you're saying so. To reduce any risk of some kind of conflict between us and this transportation company.
Regardless of whether this contract, regardless of what happens tonight, we've already started working with them to look at the routes. It's been a while. These all were established in 2001, and so we realize they're getting older. So we've already reached out to MV and started the process of doing that. We just didn't have the information for the meeting tonight, and know that's going to be needed for the next RFP. So we're going to continue that. We're going to continue that research. Add the town hall meetings, look at the school sites, and bring that forward for the next RFP.
So if we decline, about the 3.5% increase, what will happen?
There will be, the routes will change. They'll have to be minimized to stay within the thing. Oh, would you like to come up? MV's actually here.
Why didn't you say that at the beginning?
We have you guys much easier to explain to us.
Oh.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, Mr. Tony Wu, and council members. I'm Judy Smith, Regional Vice President for MV Transportation. I'd like to, first of all, thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight and to hopefully continue to partner with the city on the projects for the fixed route and dial ride services. There's one thing I wanted to, just for clarification, is that actually last year when we came to you for the increase, it was for, our contract expires actually March the 1st of this year. And March 1st of every year is our contract term. So when we came to you last year for an increase, it was to cover for 1 year, not a 2-year period, for increased minimum wage. But as we know, not only minimum wage increases every year, we have employee benefits that increase, operating expenses that increase overall. So that increase was for a 1-year period. Our current contract expires this year, March 2nd, and we're coming to you for an extension we have 1 more year extension on our contract that we've requested a 3.1% increase on, which also addresses this new year's increase in minimum wage and also operating expenses and benefits and everything to our employees. So it was for 1 year for each period of time. As for the overall contract and ridership, over the last year, we had, as you know, your city has been undergone a lot of construction on some of our routes, a lot of things that have impacted how the ridership is looking on our overall system here. So during that time, we actually looked at some of the routes with previous staff members who oversaw transportation at the time. And it was determined at that time that because there was so much construction throughout the city, it was very difficult to determine what the true needs would be. Now that we have a lot of completion in the area, we can actually come back and take a look at where things have changed, where the city has grown, businesses have moved in, all of the things that will help in the future now that we have a lot of the construction behind us. So this contract is actually for 1 more year. As of March 1st, our contract is expired actually at that time. So we're asking to extend an additional year, which is allowable under our current contract terms, and with that, with an increase for 1 more year operating expense. So just for clarification, last year wasn't for a 2-year period that we've asked for an increase for. It was for that 1 year. There were 1 year options going forward. In our dollar ride system, you see the ridership has declined. If you're involved in transportation across the country, a lot of the traditional dollar ride systems are challenged right now with some of the ridership because our passengers have a lot of options for transportation, be it as a senior today, I might still be driving, whereas maybe 10 years ago they were depending on the dollar ride system. But I think with partnering with the department and with the city to improve advertisement for the services, letting their senior centers know what's available to them, we'll work hand in hand with the department for this next year. So when we do go to RFP, it could be possibly incorporate options where some of our locations that I have oversight for Southern California, we have a dollar ride combination lift option to help keep costs down for the cities, things of that nature that can help mitigate some of those expenses. Fixed routes, you indicated some of the areas that we're not seeing some of the ridership there. Take a look at that. And now that, once again, construction has kind of diminished in the city a little bit, and really take a focus and a look at that. So I just wanted to point out some clarifications on the contract, and it's for 1 year. Last year was for 1 year. That will expire in 2021.
Thank you so much. And Council, any question? Okay, Councilwoman Shoemaker.
I understand that it was the first year of 2 allowed 1-year extensions.
Right.
And so if you believe that I said we had put into the contract that what the fees would be for this year, that's incorrect. The discussion with your company and the understanding of the council is that this year you would not be back to ask for an increase based on minimum wage increases that you knew about. So that, I think, is part of the discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. And then I understand there's differences. I'm a little confused as to the construction because I don't believe any of the routes go on the freeways or really, so city streets haven't had.
There's some main thoroughfares through the city. I have my general manager who oversees the operations day to day, and she can probably speak to.
How about we have all of them join so that if we have questions, they can answer.
Next time, so we can just ask you the question.
No. Yeah, and this is Jenna. Come on, Jenna. She's our general manager.
Yeah, welcome, general manager.
Yes.
Hi. How are you? So when we first started here,
just because it's
Steve Allen, gentlemen.
It's just because this is on YouTube, so the community can hear you and people out here.
Okay. So when we first started here, we were here probably the first year or so, and we started to get a lot of. Is it better? Okay. we actually ran into a lot of construction. So like our blue line was impacted where we would get complaints that the bus was late or, things like that. But it was something that we couldn't really prevent because of construction. We were dwindling down to one lane on both sides, and then, construction would let us go and then not go. And so it really impacted our ridership. So when we first started, we were doing really well, and as the years progressed, and construction kind of moved towards the Pomona area, it's gotten better now. We haven't gotten in many complaints, and the construction has moved that way. So I have been working with Mike and with Kelly to increase ridership. So I hope that helped a little bit.
It does. I'm still a little confused because I know we've had off and on underpasses that have been closed or narrowed down, but a lot of especially the Green Line, has never hit.
Oh no, the Green Line has been fine. Green Line, it's a hit and miss. That's usually used by the students. So when the students are out, they're done. But and during the school year, they ride a lot. So.
Yeah. What was my other question? Really quick, I just remembered what it is. We're talking about cutting the lines. Why would we cut down the distance of the lines and not the dial-a-ride services? If clearly we're at 50% utilization, why do we have to have 5 on call? That's my last question. It says, the operator will be expected to provide 5 Starcraft All-Star 25-foot buses or vehicles of equivalent or greater value and quality for the dial-a-ride services to be provided.
We run 3 a day. So we have 3 dial-a-rides that run Monday through Friday and 2 that run on Sunday.
Okay, so
there's 5 vehicles allowed just for breakdowns or if something like that happens, or like one's pulled out for maintenance, but there's 3 that are run on a daily basis.
Okay, that's interesting because we should be running 4 because the contract says 1 of the 5 will be considered to be a spare to be available. So we're already running 1 down.
Okay. Who want to have a next question? Okay, Mayor Pro Tem, please.
Actually, I do thank my colleagues for bringing out a variety of questions because when we talk about contract, we don't just talk about the raise, we talk about all the services that you provide. I'm just curious, within this 1 year, what have you been doing I know you've been talking, but what have you been doing in regards to like promotion or, discussing all this? So I'm curious on that.
When we first got here, we were able to do a meet and greet at the Senior Center. So we were able to introduce ourselves, and give information to the seniors at the center. Since then, we've had different people come in throughout the city. So when we will begin a project and start to build something, we lose track of them. And so now we've been able to work with Mike, and I've been able to work with Susie at the Senior Center. And she and I have a proposed date in March so that we can do another meet and greet to try to provide new information to maybe some of the new faces that have come in since we first started the contract.
Are you just targeting the seniors? I mean, the shuttle is for all working people and students.
It's just one aspect, but we haven't done any outreach to any of the students or any of the local schools, but that's something that we can look into.
Okay, Councilman Casiano.
Thank you. Yeah, just to follow up with that, do you guys have a Facebook page?
MV does.
Well, I mean, for the specific purpose of outreach, I mean, I'm just seeing a severe lack of effort in this capacity, in filling the capacity. I mean, when I see the buses, I'm grossly disappointed. I mean, they're always empty. I cheer when I see one head through the window. Seriously, you guys could do better. How many contracts do you guys have? Over 200? You guys could do better.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a line of communication with Uber and Lyft?
We have a line of communication with definitely directly with Uber, and we have one with Lyft as well. Yes, we
Yeah,
do.
maybe marketing interns to get some ideas. I know you guys could do better.
Yes, we will do better.
Please.
Yes, we will.
We need it. Thank you.
Okay, Councilman Johnson.
Thank you. We need to do better outreach, not only with our seniors. We have a lot of students. I think would take more advantage of it if they knew that you'd be going by the high schools and stuff like that. So not only doing it at senior centers, I think we need to do, instead of doing it once a year, I think we had to do more outreach at least 2 or 4 times a year. You need to reach out to those riders that aren't on your bus now, and what can you do better for them? So I would like to see this in the future, that we reach out not only to the seniors, but to the rest of the residents in the city. And the parks, and we can have, you can maybe do one at one of our parks, at the Cameron Park or someplace like that, have a reach out so we can advertise it so they can come and ask you questions themselves.
That's agreed, and we can develop also a survey as well to determine where the service is lacking and what people like to see more on the overall program as well. We'll do that for sure.
As myself, if I may, I would like to follow up on that I would like to see more than you just telling us that you will. I would like to see some action. As a council, we need to see that all residents in the city of West Covina and our outskirts that use your services are being provided the service that we are supplying. So we need to have that you guys are reaching out to them. So when we talk to them, they can say, yes, we're aware of it. That's all.
Okay, excuse me. Okay, and I hope you understand. Okay, that we are not trying to give you a hard time. Okay, we're trying to work with you because you are our partner. Okay, you provide a very important service for our city, and we just try to have a more ridership. So we want to have a more resident can utilize your service, and I think you should understand about our mapping about our West Covina Plaza. We have Eastland Mall, and we have a South Side. Okay, and we have all high school and elementary school. So how we have Azusa North and South, and Azusa can go to the on the north 210 and the south to the 60, and how we utilize in West Covina to move people into some area. I understand, but in concentrating West Covina, how can we move people around and we can see. I understand, including myself, we see a lot of empty, your shelters moving around. So it's kind of doesn't feel a good feeling, but hopefully we can really utilize. And like you say, it's park, right?
So at least community events, if you guys could attend, have some presents, some flyers. In the summer, we've got on Wednesday nights concerts at the park. Be a great opportunity to be out here with a booth, just spreading awareness about this great service. We just really need people to know. I think they'll use it.
Yes, we'll definitely participate.
Thank you.
Okay, Mayor Protem?
This one I forgot to ask, and maybe Mike can share. In page 17, special services, number 2, letter M. Number 2, the contractor from time to time will be required to provide special event-related services. Special event service may vary from year to year and shall be billed at no more than the fixed route revenue hour rate. Do we utilize them for our special events? It's just only 4th of July, and is that the... But for any other events within our city, we have a variety that, we'd love the students and the community to attend, whether, it's a partnership.
We have a wide variety of events we use it for. 4th of July is a great event, but we also have our senior trips. They're utilized for that. It's offered to the school. We've used them for the school district before to take them certain places, trips to the nature center, things like that. We offer it to anybody that asks. West Covina Beautiful uses it for their home for Christmas tours. So it is given out to the community service groups, and we utilize it whenever we can.
Is that additional cost?
We charge to special funds when applicable. There are guidelines for that, and then we have a small transportation, but we have a small general fund budget that is budgeted that we do not go over every year. So there is no additional cost from budgeted cost.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Okay, Council, you guys have any decision why you want to move the motion to approve, or you want to table this, or you have a further concern, you have any question, want to ask go ahead.
Well, my concern is we've had them for a year. I haven't seen that promotion, public marketing that is part of their contract, as well as, I mean, I'm glad that Councilmember Shoemaker pointed out the Dial-A-Ride about having 5, and they only have 3 that's out there. So I'd like to see, you know, whether it's timelines, what they're going to do, and information before we could table this. I'd like more information because there's a lot of questions that hasn't been.
We want to make a motion to table this?
I'd like to motion to table.
We have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, so I have a motion to table, okay, the agenda from the Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Beato, and I have second from Councilman Casiano. And any other discussion?
Just that because the contract expires at the end of the month, we need to get this on the first meeting in March. And I think there needs to be clearer understanding of what services are being provided, where we've had a shortfall, because I believe the company, when they say that they've contacted the city and been in contact with the city over these issues, and what they're willing to do moving forward to address the concern about the marketing and helping get the ridership up, and you know, what it looks like moving forward, with the understanding that we're in the last year of the contract, so a lot of this will probably come forward next year, because I'm sure they will, hopefully will apply for when we have to RFP it.
Okay.
And then I would just say to the council, remember, we have 1 year left of the contract.
So you're going to table to March 3rd meeting? Okay, so we can decide that time, and we table so we can get more information and mapping and the promotion, and see how can we help each other to increase the ridership and the more service for our resident to use, and the benefit for the company and benefit for our resident. Okay, any other? Otherwise, I'm going to roll call, please.
Can I ask clarification
go
real quick?
ahead.
I just want clarification. So on the routing, I know that's something we want to take into consideration, but I think that will affect the cost of the contract. So at this juncture, are we looking to change routing for the coming year?
I don't think so.
I don't think.
I don't think so. I think we stick with our contract, but we see a promotion about what they are going to make sure on their contract about the more ridership for our residents.
Well, and I want to know, if we don't approve the increase, what that looks like to our services, with the understanding that it sounds like, at least for a certain period of time, we've had 1 less Dial-A-Ride vehicle than we are supposed to have under our contract, and what type of credit we'll get for that off of this. And also the understanding, if we don't want to approve the increase, you know, what it would look like in terms of Dial-A-Ride and everything else.
Thank you for the clarification. We'll get you that information.
Not changing the routes, because I think it's a waste of time since we have to RFP it next year. And as you already mentioned, you're going to be holding town hall meetings and everything else to get ready for that. So, no need to duplicate work.
Other than any other comment, otherwise, roll call, please.
Councilman Castellanos.
Aye.
Councilman Johnson.
Aye.
Councilmember Shoemaker.
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Lopez Beato.
Aye.
Mayor Wu.
Aye. Motion approved 5-0, table to March 3rd, so we will decide that night. Okay, let's go to the, AB 1234, any report for that? If none, the City Council have any, Mother May I, anything? Go ahead. Okay, and any other mayor, Mother May, go ahead. Letty, Jessica?
I wanted to follow up on Mother May I that I had requested quite a while ago regarding permit parking on our streets. It was brought up tonight that we have people who aren't in compliance that, you know, we'll send somebody to ticket them, but we still haven't addressed the overriding issue, which is, you know, residents have brought up that people in Covina, which has parking permits, are now parking on their streets. And just residences in general who have, you know, 20 cars for one house, and so nobody else on the street can park. And we have discussed bringing that back, but it hasn't come back as a discussion.
It is the Mother May I?
I asked for it as a Mother May I forever ago.
Okay, would you please, this is Mother May I, can you bring this, investigation, come back to the council to okay, basically understand about how can we do about outer city, okay, like Walnut, okay, and the Covina, they park in our street. What kind of teeth we have to stop this kind of thing? Maybe co-enforcement or traffic enforcement, parking enforcement, to make sure, okay, and so this is a Mother May I from, okay, and the Councilwoman Shoemaker. Any other Mother May I? No? Okay, have our, okay, Council. You have way too many. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, this is another one that I asked for I started asking for almost a year ago now. When we were talking about bringing in Wildan, and before that process, we talked about, during the budget, how low our permit numbers are. And one of the things I've been asking for is a report on where we are on permits. You know, so, I mean, we're showing that we're basically going to double the revenue this year in that department. How? Why? Are we getting more efficient on processing the permits? Where are we?
You want a quarterly report, or you want a quarterly report?
Until we're assured and comfortable that we're not doing 1,300 permits a year, that's fine. Well, I know, but we have nothing to show that, you know.
So, city managers, okay, okay, Councilwoman Shoemaker's request, Mother May I, to have our permit. Again, normally we want to know, remember, okay, how many permit we have monthly and quarterly. So maybe quarterly satisfy you? Okay, so quarterly we want to know, okay, average these 3 months, okay, how many permit we have, and then okay, big one, small one, okay, just see what we have, and the revenue too. Mm-hmm. Okay, and the revenue and income, how much go to? I know right now it's a 50-50s, right? So 50 to Weldon, 50 to a city. So we maybe have some report for that. This is Mother May I from you. Am I right?
Yes, and the other part of that is when we approved Wildan, there was expectations on how long permits.
Correct. Okay, and we want to see the performer. We want to see their performance. Okay, and we want the performance report. I know I received an email from you today. Somebody is talking about.
That they're doing well.
They're doing well, but it's only one person. Yeah. And we want to almost everybody to saying they're doing well, they're very satisfied, the customer service. So we want to make sure the customer service that our resident or contractor, they're happy. Okay, because at the beginning, everybody have a doubt. Now we want to see they are doing the okay job. So let's have a report from them. Okay, see the satisfaction, the review, and make sure they're doing a good job for our city.
Well, and besides Wildan,
Transtech?
Transtech too.
Transtech too?
The timeline, because one of the things I asked before Wildan came in was how long is it taking for things to get through that department?
The plan check, I remember that time they came to our meeting, they talked about 10 days, working day, and we want to make sure they're still doing the 10 day, okay, not doing the 200 days, okay, we want to make sure they keep their promise regarding what they on the list.
And we're using Wildan now because they're here, but I would like a comparison to, if possible, where we were before Wildan.
Okay, good point. Okay, so a comparison with previous service that we are in-house, compared with now we have a contract with this company taking over everything. We want to see the performer comparison, the dollar amount and plus the service, and then the survey, and hopefully we have that report quarterly.
If you guys want a quarterly, at this point, I'm just happy with an update now to see if it's working.
Okay, and she just want, now, right, okay? I think quarterly. Okay, quarterly is fine. Okay, we want the quarterly is okay? Is that possible, quarterly? It's not too much burden to you guys? No. Very good. Okay, so quarterly, Mother May I? Okay, do you want additional Mother May I?
No, since it sounds like I'm getting at least 3 pushed through tonight.
No, I don't mind more.
Mr. Mayor?
It's all good. Okay, Johnson?
If I may also kind of on Councilmember Shoemaker about the permit. You know, one thing we always had a problem with is taking way too long with the permits. I would like to see what is our timeline from the time somebody walks in from off the counter till they actually get the permit. Sometimes you take 2 or 3 weeks. That's too long. Somebody wants to have a job done. They don't want to wait 2 or 3 weeks to get a permit. Yes, okay, thank you. I just want to make sure.
That's the report. Okay, and I remember they give a pamphlet, remember? And they're talking about how many days. Remember they give us a plan check, 10 working day. Okay, over the counter they can approve it. Okay, it's a prime service. Okay, and we will give them a permit even faster than they can get a headache. I owe this commercial thing, but we want to see the true thing, what the really to the. I know my neighbor complaining last year, they took them a little bit longer than they promised. So hopefully, all those hiccup never happen again. So we want a report for that to see. Yeah, go ahead.
And understand, and you're going to have to find some way to put this in the report. I want to know what the city is doing, because I understand they could send back to somebody, hey, we need this amended, and they take 5 months to get back. So I'm not going to hold that against Wildan. So
how soon we can get this report?
Clarify what the actual time for us is.
How soon we can get this report?
I can have it to you in March.
Okay, March. So is it satisfied for you, March, for this report? Yeah. Okay. So Jessica is happy. Okay, it's March. We want March. Yeah, 1 month turn around. And I think this is important right now with our co-enforcement to make sure people cannot build something without permit. At the same time, we want to see the permit to make sure everything properly, safely, and to build. Okay,
well,
I think this is important.
Commissioner Redholz pointed out, you do mean this March, right?
No, he's talking about 2023. Okay, no, 2020. Okay, any other comment? Otherwise, I want to send you home. Okay, please. Okay, and you guys still have a day job. Okay, go ahead, Johnson.
Oh, thank you, Mayor. I have just two little comments I'd like to make. First of all, let everybody know we did have another meeting today on the 4th of July parade, and it's coming along real well. We're ironing out a lot more and more, so we'll eventually be making for the city that lets you know exactly where we stand. Because we want everything on a timeline. We want to accomplish this. So come time June comes along, we want to have everything ironed out. And the other thing I'd like to bring up to Mayor, that on March 17th, believe it or not, I will be missing my first council meeting in how many years, even before I was on the council. I will be out of town with the San Gabriel Valley Vector Mosquito. I'll be up in Portland, Oregon at the conference. So I just want to let everybody know that I won't be here. So don't faint when you see me not here.
We might cancel the council meeting.
If you would, I appreciate it.
If you would, because I'm missing too.
Oh.
So in 15 years in office, this will be my second missed meeting.
And you got all fired. Okay, no, you guys have to stay. Okay, no, you guys have to. We need you guys vote.
It'll be the first one I've missed in almost 10 years.
Okay, and other comment? Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to thank the City of West Covina and the West Covina Police Department for allowing myself and Lieutenant Cortina to have the first ever Women's Empowerment, a reality-based self-defense and self-awareness seminar. It was a huge success without promotion or anything. It filled up in 3 days. And the most interesting part is in Pasadena, the police department of Pasadena looked at this on Eventbrite and sent 2 of their female officers to come and participate in our program, and the commander sent them and said, if it's good, put it in our city. So those 2 ladies love the program. They are going to implement that in their city of Pasadena. So I'm actually happy to say that, it's great to be the first to start that. So thank you for the whole thing, and I think we will probably host it again. We do volunteer our time, so it's an additional thing, but, it's greater for the community and the women in our city as well as everybody appreciate it. So thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Okay, I think it's a wonderful event because I can be the witness. My wife attend. Okay, and now I got a bodyguard. Okay, she is tough. Okay, after she learned how to punch people, I'm in trouble. But I feel safer now. I feel much safer right now. I think this is a magnificent event. I hope you continue, maybe do it monthly to all our, hey, commitment, okay? You have to sacrifice for our residents. That's why you Mayor Pro Tem. But I think it's very important, okay, for all our, residents, especially, lady, to attend this event. And my wife can be your assistant now, okay, because she is pretty good, okay? So anyway, thank you. Anybody? Any other comment? If none, okay, thank you so much to attend the meeting, and I wish you everybody a good night, and the meeting adjourned. Okay.